guys, it's Chris again from Deer Creek Audio Illusions. I would like to talk to you today about monitors again. I've been gearing a couple of my last videos towards monitors, but I would like to get a little bit more specific and talk about a monitor that has a lot of controversy over it. I happen to like them very much, but I'm talking specifically about these little guys right here, the Auratone 5C Mix Cubes. They're a single driver. Let me show you here. They're a single driver 5-inch speaker. It's a full range speaker, and you can see that the foam grill is very easily removable. There's a couple of modern day clones for this speaker. They're the AVAtone Mix Cubes, which basically look just like those except they come in a cream colored finish. These have a walnut covered veneer cabinet. And the AVAtones are probably built a lot better than the Auratones, but many feel they don't really do the job that the Auratones do. There are some big benefits of having just a single full range driver over a speaker system that might have multiple speakers in them. Let me show you on these JBL 4311s specifically what I'm talking about. As you can see, this is a three-way system. I have a woofer. This is a 12-inch woofer, a little mid-range driver here, and then a high-frequency treater. So the way that these speakers are separated, there's going to be a crossover network that will divide the frequencies and send certain frequencies just to the low speaker, the woofer. The mid frequencies going to the mid-range speaker, and then of course the same going for the high-frequency speakers. There's benefits and pluses about that, but also there are some negatives. The negatives would be that there are going to be some frequencies that go to this speaker and also to this littler, smaller mid-range speaker, the same frequency, and when they're combined you will have what's called phase cancellation, which gives an unusual sound because the two frequencies potentially can reach your ear at a different time frame. If I'm off to one side, this speaker is going to reach my ears sooner than this speaker here. Now realize these speakers are in very close proximity, so you really don't have a huge problem with that. But there are some very noticeable difference sometimes. If you were to take an example, take a sound, go ahead and duplicate that sound, and also now delay that by just say a very short time, by 20 milliseconds. Combine those two sounds together and play them back in a mono source, and you're going to hear some very strange audio. It's going to sound like the sound is played through a cardboard tube, and that really illustrates what I'm talking about, what phase cancellation or comb filtering sounds like. Now getting back to the Auratones, since they have a full frequency driver here, they don't have those problems. Now also realize this driver, we're not putting out some pump and bass, and we're not putting out some very extreme high ends too. I'm going to think that these drivers steeply roll off at around 100 Hertz, and then they also probably top out at about 8 kilohertz also. So you're not really getting a full range sound. However, these monitors do excel in the mid-range because they tend to bring the mid-range forward a little bit, and that's really where most of our music is. That's where our ear picks up on the most. That's where the detail is that you hear the most. So think of these speakers as something that is just like pushing the solo button on the mid-range of your mix and allowing you to really hone in on that mid-range. Also, if you can hear things like your kick drum and your bass drum or the cymbals and that sort of thing, you know that if you can hear them on these speakers, they're going to translate great on the bigger guys. Now that said, about the mid-range, think about what's in the mid-range. You have all your vocals, you have a lot in your rock music, you have a lot of the main instruments like your guitars. The keyboards will be a little bit more full range, so they'll be in there. So that really helps you to kind of with a microscope listen to the relative volume balances between these different instruments in the mix there, and be able to set them accurately. If they sound good on these little speakers here and they feel that it's balanced and you're getting a good mix, when you turn them on to your main studio monitors, you're going to sit back and go, wow, yes, that made a great mix. Now, a lot of people really just say these speakers are made for comparing mixes on what it's going to sound like in a TV, and initially these speakers were found in a lot of TV studios to start out with, and I think people picked up on that and think, well, my mixes are going to be heard on some really lousy stereos, car stereos, boom boxes, or whatever you, or a lot of mono sources, and so therefore I need something that's going to replicate a lousy stereo sound, and so I can hear what my mixes sound like. I think that's useful to be able to look at it in that way, but personally I don't think that that is really the main benefits behind using these little guys. I think it's being able to take a look at the main section of your music, that mid-range section, and to really hear it with a microscopic type ear and be able to discern, can I hear that vocal? Can I hear the background vocals? Are they coming through? Is something getting stomped on? And so these guys have an amazing clarity about them to allow you to hear such detail like that. These guys are no longer in production, so they've had a lot of clones that have come out, the AVAtone mixed cubes, and Behringer, I believe, also makes a small pair of them also. However, I think the purists, and I would have to tend to agree, that the Auratones really are the leader of the pack in this type of monitor. The AVAtones have more of a full range to them, and so some may think that that's better, some may think that's worse, but what that does is just broaden the range there to become more like your main monitors here. I like these guys because I think they're a good tool to use. I don't listen to them and think, well, if it's going to sound good on this, it's going to sound good on somebody's really lousy system or their boombox. I use it more as a microscopic edge. I hope this helps talking about the 5 C's, that now you understand what they really are, what their uses are, and I appreciate you coming in and spending the time watching the video. Subscribe to the channel, that'd be great, and we'll talk to you next time.